Good morning, everyone. It is day 11 of my mental health challenge, Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. I started a couple of minutes early today. I don't know if I just kicked on. I started a couple of minutes early today because to give people an opportunity to get a cup of coffee, sit down, relax, or if you're driving, you're in your car, wherever you may be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my worship song and my 25 push-ups. If you're watching live right now, you can see that I'm displaying the letter that was sent to me in certified mail yesterday that I have been fired by the Sarasota County School Board. So I'm just going to leave this up here while I'm doing my push-ups, because what I'm going to talk about today, and this is so ironic, I did not know I was getting this letter before I chose the topic. And the topic for my positive mental health is focusing on others' opinions of ourself, which affects our own opinion of ourself. So it's pretty incredible. Once again, God is in this. So I'm going to start with a great worship song by the Sidewalk Prophets called Live Like That. This is Phil Puzenchira. Phil Puzenchira recommended this song to me. So while this is going on, I'm going to be doing my 25 push-ups for mental health, and I'm going to do my next 5 push-ups for Coach Chris Gruters, constantly with the Russo Strong and constantly sending me support. So the last 5 are for her. And on a side note, I'm going to do this for 25 days. Day 25, the push-ups will be for my wife, my lovely wife, my beautiful wife, Kathleen Fruin Russo. I am saving the best for last. And the reason I mention this is because I had several of you ladies say, hey, we haven't heard you thank your wife yet. And I love you for doing that. That's awesome. But I'm saving the best for last. So Kathleen Fruin Russo, you get the best thank you at the end for putting up with me. All right, here we go. Let us get a little Sidewalk Prophets going. I'll pump up my push-ups and we'll get into today's topic.
Sometimes I think, what will people say of me when I'm only just a memory? Was I loved, but no one else would show up? Was I Jesus to the least of us? Was my worship more than just a song? I wanna live like that. So it's true.
All right. 25 mental health, last 5 for Coach Chris Gruters.
Am I proof that you are who you say you are? That grace can really change your heart? Do I live like your love is true? People pass, and even if they don't know my name, is there evidence that I've been changed? When they see me, do they see you? I won't show the world the love you gave for me. Longing for the world to know the glory of the King.
All right, that is the Sidewalk Prophets, Live Like That. What a great song that is, and what a great message that is there. Now, I know that most of you can't read this, so I will read it for you, but what you can see up there is the phone number for the Sarasota County School Board, 941-927-9000, and then extension 31147. That would give you the chance to leave a message with the school board, and that's what we're going to talk about today, because our mental health topic today is going to be about speaking up and speaking out, because we're going to focus on others' opinions of ourselves, which affects our own opinion of ourselves. So there's no question we get affected by other people's opinions. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down. I'll end up reading you this letter, but I'm going to show you some irony here. Okay, this letter that for termination that explains why I should be terminated is being held up by my Teacher of the Year certificate that I was awarded by Sarasota County. John Russo from Brookside Middle School, a Sarasota County Teacher of the Year. So how about this? On one side, I'm a Teacher of the Year, 28 years of great service. On the other side, 12 seconds define my entire career with the Sarasota County School Board. These 12 seconds, that's what they want to define me, and that's not going to happen. I'm not going to let others' opinion of myself affect my own. All right. Let me pump on the air here. Good morning. I like to do that little visual right there. I had to put my cross back in now after finishing up my push-ups. Okay, once again, I want to start with, I have a couple great verses here I want to start with today. And let me pick those up. Okay, so I have two. The first one is from Corinthians 1:16. It says, "Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, but do everything in love." And that's what I'm going to ask people today. I'm going to ask you to be firm, be courageous, be strong, but do it in a loving way. And what am I going to ask you to do? Well, you're going to find out. But this second verse, I'm going to read the second one from Luke 12:3 will kind of give you an insight. "What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight. And what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the rooftops." Amen. So I'm hoping that I can get people who are supporting me. I'm getting so much support. I'm getting thousands of views on these videos. This is incredible. I mean, Chris Achille, again, I can't stop thanking you how blessed. I haven't been able to teach for 2.5 years, and I'm getting to kind of teach a lesson each day for 15 minutes, and I'm stoked. I'm excited. Okay, and I'm love doing it. So let's start today, and I want to just talk about focusing on others' opinions of ourselves, which affects our own opinion of ourselves. So we know, as much as we don't want that to be true, that that is true, that we allow other people's perception of us to affect the way we think about ourselves. And that could be very damaging to our mental health, especially when we might respect these people, trust these people, they're our superiors, and they're saying this, or they're in positions of power, and they're saying it, and other people are hearing it. So all of a sudden, you're thinking to yourself, is this true? Excuse me. And so it's important that we recognize that even though other people's words can cause us no harm, they're just words, they do have an effect on our mental health. And I think it's great. Like, your words physically can't hurt me, but mentally they can. Absolutely. We know that. We all know what buttons to push on certain people to try to hurt their feelings. And so this is what we're going to kind of talk about here today. So I want to read you the letter that the Sarasota County School Board sent to me. It's called My Termination of Employment After 28 Years. It says, "Dear Mr. Russo, an investigation has occurred which outlined multiple failures as it relates to your conduct during your employment with Sarasota County Schools. It was concluded you have committed the following offenses, among others: misconduct in office, willful neglect of duty, and immorality. Based upon the substantial information presented as a result of this investigation, it was found there was just cause to terminate your employment with the Sarasota County School Board. The recommendation for termination was originally proposed on April 22nd, 2019, with an effective date of May 22nd, 2019. The recommendation was grieved and upheld by arbitrator Jean Charles on August 19th, 2020. Accordingly, I, Brennan Asplin, will recommend to the school board that your appointment be terminated effective September 2nd, 2020. The school board will vote to accept or reject my recommendation at its September 1st, 2020 meeting. The meeting will be held at 1960 Landings Boulevard, Sarasota, Florida at 6:30 p.m. There's a closed meeting before it where he's going to make that proposal, and then the actual meeting itself will take place at 6:30 when they vote on it. So my focus on mental health about speaking up and speaking out is this is where all of you people who have shown me love and support and you want to know what you can do, here's what you can do for me and my Naughty crew who's been supporting me, my hometown Naugatuck community, Sarasota community, teachers from around this county and the NEA from around the country. Here's what we can start with. You can call our new superintendent, Brennan Asplin, at the Sarasota County School Board, 941-927-9000, extension 31147. And tell him to look at Mr. Russo's tapes. Tell him to look at what happened. This isn't about saving my job. As Karen Rose said, we need to move on. And I'll talk about that comment because I respect Karen so much and I know why she said that. She said it in a positive way, not a negative way. And so it's time to call the superintendent and start flooding the phone today and calling him all day and ask him, what's he going to do about this? What man of integrity is he? I've heard great things about him, a Christian man coming from St. Johns County. Is he just going to terminate me without ever talking to me and seeing what happened, especially with all this evidence out here? He can open his eyes. He can look. He could speak up. He could speak out. So we have a brand new leader here in Sarasota County, and he has a chance to start off on the right foot. And we're going to call him out on that. You know, Dr. Asplin, I would love for you to call me and let me come in and show you and talk to you and see what happened. This isn't about saving my job. My job's not going to be saved. I will be voted out. There is no question about that. And that's okay. This is about future teachers. This is about speaking up and speaking out for future teachers because they're the ones in danger. Look at what, so I'm going to go back to focus on others' opinions of ourself, which affects our own opinion of ourself. So after working for 28 years and 25 of them in Sarasota County, I'm leaving with a reputation of misconduct in office, willful neglect of duty, and immorality. For those of you who saw the tapes, tell me where my misconduct occurred. Tell me where my willful neglect of duty occurred. And tell me where my immorality occurred in that 12 seconds of interaction. How did all those things happen? I think like when that young man said that I put him in a full Nelson and chokehold and he mistook me for the Principal Matthew Gruel, I think that happened again. I think Principal Matthew Gruel and SRO Todd Perna committed misconduct in office, willful neglect of duty, immorality. That sounds like our superintendent, former superintendent Todd Bowden, the fired former superintendent Jeff Maltzby, their personal attorney Jennifer Compton, who was hired for this hit job. That's the immorality. That's the willful neglect of duty, and that's the misconduct in office. And I'm here today in a very positive way to call some people out, because what we want you to do, we want you to make phone calls and inundate the superintendent with questions on why our schools aren't safe. Don't focus on John Russo. Focus on teachers who are there now. And so teachers, you better be on the phones calling too, because this is all about you. Don't let what happened to me happen to you, because it's going to. I'm going to show you a pattern of behavior, a culture that exists here in Sarasota County that we're hoping Karen Rose and Dr. Brennan Asplin can put an end to, because enough is enough. Now, I'm going to talk about speaking up, and I'm going to start with Karen Rose, because Karen Rose made a comment at the end of the investigation that it was time to move on. And people were offended by that. I wasn't offended by that. Okay, because you know what Karen Rose did for me? Karen Rose came and testified on my behalf. Karen Rose didn't support me. She was asked the question whether or not she supported me. She said, listen, I don't have enough information. The investigation's been so tainted that I can't even make a determination But what Karen Rose did is she showed up and just simply told the truth. How about that? Something we take so for granted, yet Karen Rose was one of the few people who were able to do that. Matthew Gruel didn't. Todd Perna, Todd Bowden, Jennifer Compton, Jeff Maltzby, they didn't. They didn't tell the truth, but Karen Rose did. And she did it without supporting me. She just simply told the truth, told the facts. So Karen, this is why we vote for you. This is why we supported you. This is why we spoke up for you, because it's time for you to speak up for those teachers that got you voted in. You're right. It's time to move on from John Russo, but it's not time to move on what happened to John Russo, because it's going to happen again. Because one of the things that you need to do, Karen Rose, is change the culture. You know that Principal Gruel was lying. You know it, and you said it in your testimony. You know him and Todd Perna were conspiring against me. Karen Rose, you know who made the decision to send that young man to Brookside Middle School. No one's taken credit for that, yet you know who it is because they overrode you. These are the questions that need to be answered when you're on the school board, because these people can't continue to go on unanswered. I'm going to show you a story tomorrow about SRO Kim Wiley, who also worked at Brookside. And she ended up being fired and attempted to be arrested by this same principal because she caught him doing the same thing, covering up acts of crime on his campus. So we have a principal, Matthew Gruel, who has a pattern of behavior of openly breaking the rules, blaming other people, and then getting them fired and trying to get them arrested. And he's still employed by the Sarasota County School Board. And I'm the one being called immoral, the willful neglect of duty, and misconduct in office. And that's what's so incredible about this. So I need people to show up at the school board meeting on September 1st at 6:30. And here's the great thing with social distancing. You don't even need to get out of your car. Drive down to that school board meeting and start at 6 o'clock and form a perimeter around there in the parking lot and just start driving around and beeping those horns. Other people get out with signs. Get people to notice what's going on. And the signs aren't about John Russo. The signs are about, what is the Sarasota County School Board going to do about safety? What is the Sarasota County School Board going to do about protecting my former colleagues and my friends who are in the public schools now? And they're in danger. Because what I showed you through that video is I didn't do anything wrong and I got fired, and the same thing is happening to them. So now, do you think any teacher is going to get involved, parents? Do you think that any teacher is ever going to put their hands on a kid, even if they love your child? Okay, that's the decision they're going to have to make. Somebody said this to me, we don't want to get Russo'd. Right, doing the right thing and ended up getting screwed anyways, being Russo'd. I thought that was pretty funny in one aspect. Okay, I can laugh about this stuff now because this is what God has done for me. He's transformed my heart. Okay, so let's see how we can do getting people to speak up and getting people to speak out, because we need to start questioning why individuals are not being held accountable in this county. Why are they allowed to do this? Why are they allowed to get away with this? Why is Matthew Gruel still employed as a principal? Is it 3 strikes, 3 people, and then he's out? Now, something else I found yesterday, they're saying that I committed misconduct in office, willful neglect of duty, and immorality. I had been talking to a civil attorney who was very clear to me that I have grounds for a major lawsuit against the Sarasota County Public Schools, Todd Bowden and Jennifer Compton, for slander, defamation of character, and wrongful termination. And so, once again, this is going to cost money. They just lost a lawsuit to Sharena Bonner. I'm going to be filing a lawsuit against them. SRO Kim Wiley's already filed a lawsuit against them. And when you hear her story, you're going to see this pattern. This just went, it started with me, and 18 months later, Principal Gruel did it to her. They're not winning these lawsuits. So it's time to change the culture. Brennan Asplin, Karen Rose, Bridget Ziegler, Eric Robinson, I wish you were still there. But Bridget Ziegler, you're to me are the pivot. You're a mom. Okay? You know what it's like to have children. And what if your children were the ones who were being attacked? Would you want me to walk away? Would you say, no, Mr. Russo, I don't think you should put your hands on that violent young man, even though he might bump into my daughter and hurt her? Come on, Bridget. I have so much respect for you. One of the things that I think is cool, Bridget, about agreeing to disagree is you're a big charter school booster, and that's fantastic. I am not, obviously. I'm a public school teacher booster. But that is the platform that you were hired on. That is what your constituents want you to do, and you do that. So even if people don't like that, your support of charter schools, that's what you were elected to do. So that shows your morality. And I think since then, for the most part, you've done a very good job of showing a moral compass, especially with this old superintendent. Okay, but now it's time to show a new moral compass again. You are employing individuals who have done these things, committed misconduct in office, willful neglect of duty, and immorality, and they're still employed, and you fired 2 employees who called them out on it and caught them. This has to change. These schools are not safe. So I'm going to use some names here. Bill Logan from ABC News. Bill Logan, I'd love for you to get involved in this. Let's do a Channel 7 roundtable. Let's talk about, get these people on. Trevor Harvey, come on and tell me why, even though you figured I'm not biased, I still deserve to be fired. Tell me where my misconduct was, Trevor Harvey. Tell me where my willful neglect of duty was. Show me my immorality, Trevor Harvey. I challenge you. Bill Logan, get him on there. Get whoever you want. And I challenge them. And I will go on there and I will have a conversation with them about this because I have the facts on my side. I have truth on my side. And that's what's great. Telling a problem makes it a part of the past. Telling a lie makes a problem a part of your future. Telling a lie, or I'm all messed up on that one. Telling the truth makes it a part of your past. Telling a lie makes it a part of your future. Okay, and that's what we have here. And that's why I have no problem talking and challenging these people. Barry Dubin and Pat Gardner from the SCTA. You did everything in your power financially to support me, and I truly respect that and thank you for that. But it's time for you two to speak up. I felt you could have spoken up for me a lot more. You both know what went on. You both know that the principal was lying. The police officer changed the police report. You knew that Jeff Maltzby was plotting behind my back. So you know all those problems are still there. So Barry Dubin, when you say we need to move on from Russo because he lost. Pat, I didn't hear anything from you, and that's okay one way or the other. And Karen, when you say we need to move on, you have to solve this problem before you have to move on. You have to change this culture. People voted for you to be in this position to do that, and it's time to do that. So it's time for members of this community to speak up and speak out. It's time for people to call the school board. It's time for people to go online to Sarasota County Public Schools onto their website and start inundating the new superintendent, Brennan Asplin, with emails and phone calls, and the school board members. They're all listed on there. I'd written them on the back of this, but I know you're not going to be able to see it. Carolyn Zucker, Shirley Brown, Jane Goodwin, Bridget Ziegler, Eric Robinson. They're all at SarasotaCountySchools.net. So my mission, or my expectation I'm going to ask of you is, if you think I'm right, if you think that they've done something wrong to me, if you viewed these videos and you know that I am being treated unfairly, do something for someone else. Help somebody. This is our chance. This is our chance to change the culture by September 1st, that we can change the culture of Sarasota County Public Schools. Todd Bowden destroyed the culture of our schools. I love telling people that I work for Sarasota County Public Schools, and then I became embarrassed to tell them that I work there. Well, I'm hoping that that's going to change, and it won't change unless teachers stand up and teachers speak up. And I know you're afraid. I know you are. I talk to my teachers' friends who love me and support me, and they're afraid. They're afraid to say anything. And so it's time to you to not use your mouths, but use your car horns. Use your telephones. Use your emails and start inundating. Call the press. Make sure that WWSB is there. I talked to Rick Adams. How about Ryan McKinnon, who's writing these stories? Why don't you make sure you show up and interview some of the people? Let's make sure everybody watches the video. Everybody's informed when they get there. Trevor Harvey, I'd love to see you there that night explaining to people my immorality, my willful neglect of duty, and my misconduct in office. I want people who are naysayers. I want people who think that this is right to go there and say why. This is your chance to speak up too. Speak up and speak out. This is what we need in order to create change. This is what I would tell my students all the time. This is our responsibility. Okay, we are at a critical juncture in our culture, and you have a chance here in Sarasota County to change it. Because here's what I know from my Naughty friends. They're calling, they're going to be on it, and they're going to do it because that's what Naugatuck people do. And I know it. And the reason I love living in Sarasota is because that's what Sarasota people do. They're going to stand up for what's right. They're going to stand up for their children. They're going to stand up for their teachers because they know how hard these teachers work and the respect they have for the teachers and the love these kids have or teachers have for their kids. It's about the teachers. That's what this is about. And it's a time to change the culture in Sarasota County. So Karen Rose, I voted for you. And I know a lot of us did. And we voted for you because we respect you and we trust you and we expect you to do the right thing. So when you said move on, I want you to. I want you to move on to these people, and I want you to start asking questions publicly, and I want you to start holding them accountable. And I want to see you September 1st outside the school board with us, Karen Rose, because you know those people didn't tell the truth. And you know I got the short end of the stick. And it's time for people to speak up and speak out so it doesn't happen again. And on that note, I'm going to end it with this. I am so excited tomorrow to be able to talk about the case of SRO Kim Wiley. She was an SRO placed on our campus after I was removed, and she caught Mr. Gruhl doing the same thing, covering things up. She confronted him. He ended up getting her fired and tried getting her arrested. So this is a person who just keeps getting moved from school to school, and the school board's not doing anything about it. And so it's time for us to do something about it. It's time. So on that note, I want you to have a wonderful day. I hope that every one of you is going to speak up and speak out. Bill Logan, I want to hear from you. Brennan Asplin, I want to hear from you. You have my phone number. Call me. I'd love to come talk to you. One Christian to another. Let me tell you what happened. It's about saving future jobs. Barry Dubin, Pat Gardner. It's about saving future jobs. God bless and have a great day.